Welcome, Queen. Have you ever been in a conversation where you're addressing something clearly, but then the other person's attitude, it just completely shifts? They become defensive. And then instead of you continuing your conversation with them, you find yourself addressing the shift in their defensiveness because the tone that they have changed, so the energy of the conversation changed. And that led to progress of the conversation being stalled or completely eliminated. So, in that moment, you are managing their reaction. And if so, I want you to know that that is the moment that the conversation shifted. And this today is when the conversation turns defensive and what to do. Let's put first things first. What is happening here in this moment that this person becomes defensive? It is not miscommunication, especially not on your part, because you are being clear. What is happening here when this person becomes defensive, the moment the conversation shifts, is they are taking you away from the point you are attempting to communicate, or that you have communicated rather, because you've been clear. So you brought something forward and your objective was to stay with the point. But instead, they started explaining, they started justifying their behavior, or they started to subtly turn the tables on you. Meaning, in some instances, they started to turn or shift your point back on you. And as you know from the Recognize Him series, oftentimes they can use the manipulation of gaslighting when they do this. And this is the moment that most women can lose control. They can lose themselves in the conversation because they can find themselves feeling that they need to soften their perspective, the urge to clarify more. And let me tell you, I used to be so guilty of that. I used to say, well, you know what? Let me clarify it just a little bit more. Or they can also feel the pressure to just not make the situation any worse than it has already become. So instead of holding their position, they start managing the other person's reaction because they're managing their emotions, or attempting to manage their emotions rather. Because again, you can't really truly manage people because you can't control people. And so the key here is to interrupt the pattern. And the pattern is where the mistake comes into play. And the mistake is you think, and I know because I've been there, you think, I need to explain it better. I need to make sure that they truly understand. But the moment that you do that, you have already lost your position, because the conversation at that point, it shifts, and the conversation is no longer about the point that you were addressing. The conversation rather is now about their comfort about the point you were addressing. So here is the strategy that I offer for you to use the next time you find yourself in a conversation with someone and they have become defensive. Don't over explain, don't try to over justify, and do not try to defend or attempt to defend your delivery. Instead, reclaim the focus of the conversation. Simply say, I hear what you're saying, but that is not what I am addressing. After you say that, then say, the point that I am addressing is, and then insert your specific situation that you were attempting to communicate to them or with them. That's it. That's all, says the clock on the wall. But here's the thing, seriously. It's that simple, because when you reclaim the focus of the conversation, you are letting them know that, hey, I understand that you have some feelings about this, some emotions about this. They say they feeling some type of way. Well, guess what? They can feel some type of way, and you still get to say what you need to say if you go ahead and reclaim the focus of that conversation. But if you don't, then again, what you need to say, you won't say, because you won't be addressing what you came to say. You will be addressing how they feel about what you came to say. Simply put, what I'm saying here is you simply need to hold your position in the conversation. Hold your direction. You don't need better wording. Because defensiveness typically has 3 objectives. Number 1, to delay. As much as possible, if they can become defensive and delay what you want to say, some people, they will do it because it serves them well. Number 2, deflect. Some people, they know that they the issue. They know that what you are saying is true, and they don't want you to address it with them. So, again, if they can't deflect, they prevent you from saying what you need to say. The question becomes, are you going to allow it? And then the third typical objective of defensiveness, whether intentional or not, most times I'm telling you, it is intentional. They are very much aware of what they are doing. That's why they're doing it. Now, like I was saying though, number three, they want to disrupt the focus. And defensiveness is a great tactic, a great manipulation tactic to do this. Because once a person becomes defensive, especially if they catch you off guard, and you're the type of person who they know you like to keep the peace, especially at all costs. Oh, that one right there, number 3, disrupting focus. It works like a charm. Very well, quite frequent. Because once they can shift the focus, then they can shift you and what you came to say. So remember that your job, your objective in the conversation is not to manage them or control them. And it's not to even try to fix their reaction. It's simply to complete the point, the perspective, the issue, the concern, whatever it may be. To complete that. Complete your point. Because that is the point of the conversation. And that is exactly why I teach the 4 must know conversations. The 4 must know conversations is a simple framework that allows you to be equipped to recognize and understand that every conversation is not the same. And because every conversation is not the same, every moment is not the same. So every moment does not require the same response. And if you misidentify the response that is needed, then you will misidentify the moment that you're in. And in that moment, you'll use the wrong move. So understand and recognize that this right here, this moment when people become defensive, this is what I call a repositioning moment. Because you need a repositioning conversation. Because what you are doing in this moment that someone becomes defensive is you are repositioning the conversation back to your original and intended purpose for the conversation from the very beginning. That way, the issue that you intended to address actually gets addressed. And that's why I need you to also remember that respect does not come from how well you can explain or how well you can articulate your point. In a conversation, respect comes from whether or not you complete your point. So if you've ever felt a conversation like this slip away, where you started it off strong, but then it turned defensive and you found yourself managing the moment because of the emotions of the person you were speaking to instead of leading in that moment, then I highly recommend as your next best step my training called When the Conversation Goes Left. How to stay clear, calm, and in control even when emotions rise. Because in that training, I break down how to identify the shift in real time, how to stay composed under pressure, and how to lead the conversation without losing yourself. You can register now, and the link is in the description and pinned to the comment section. In closing, I want to leave you with this final thought. There are times, inevitably, conversations will go left. But when they do, you don't have to. As always, I am CE Sam telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.